everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lorena Creole, and I am here with her of positive fandom. And in this video, we are actually going to do, I guess, a post reaction video to watching the movie Afro Samurai. Actually, we just finished watching Afro Samurai Resurrection and thought we would record a reaction to the movie. Now, we have seen all 5 episodes of the anime, and of course, we put that up. On our channel, well, actually on my channel, and to catch folks up, if you, well, we'll spoil it for you. I'll tell you in advance. At the end of the anime, we see Gino, right? Who Afro actually had a pretty intense battle with. And he comes back at the end. And we're just like, what happens? Well, Afro Samurai Resurrection is what winds up happening. So I will ask you, what are your initial thoughts of Afro Samurai Resurrection after having seen it?
Well, I had no idea that anything was going to be resurrected, even though it clearly says it in the name of the anime that perhaps there might be something coming back. But I was completely in the dark about this. And of course, it was always good to see Afro Samurai again. But I wondered what the next step would be for him and what would happen. And, you know, it's very interesting because in the previous episodes, for the majority of the show, it was more of a black and white or gray tones. And then at the end of that, at the end of the I guess the first part one, it went into color. And now this particular anime is almost all in color. And those incredible scenes, I was talking about how incredible the water scenes look, how incredible, the clouds are kind of, drifting by. And right away, there's this attack on him. And of course, we have the other character, the Samuel L. Jackson character back, who's such an incredible character. And, I think it's great because he's kind of saying everything that Afro Samurai is thinking, but isn't going to say out loud. Right from the beginning, there's this altercation on this bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who he has the altercation with, like here, they're all fighting to get the number one headband from him. And eventually he comes across another fighter who has a child in his hand. And it's very odd, right? It's a very odd situation because he's carrying a child. It's like, why is a person with a child, kind of like trying to fight Afro Samurai? And so we have this opponent who feels like he could actually challenge Afro Samurai for the first time, like he could be in trouble, and he had that chain. What did you think about that one? Because I kind of like that character. He looked really good.
Let's see if I can find him in here.
And Afro Samurai seems to be like he made a figure of his father that he whittled out of wood. It's whittling, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was whittling. He was. Yeah, you guys are getting a eyeful later on. Yeah, he was basically on his own for quite some time. Just you could see how much time had passed because he was just making figures, out of wood. And of course, as you saw, like his blade was just really jacked up, which I like how the Samuel L. Jackson character in here adds that exposition, and he says what we're thinking. It's just like your blade is all raggedy and all of that. What the heck is going on? Because what eventually happened is that Afro had the number one headband, well, we'll say taken from him. That's pretty much what it is. And he had to start from square one to go and find the number two headband, because without the number two headband, he could not challenge the number one. And let's see, we'll skip up here to, where's that part on the bridge? Because that's, I keep going fast and then going on the other side. But This guy right here, as you were saying, Afro Samurai actually happens to run into the guy running away with his son, winds up shanking the dude and saves the kid. And this guy's like, "Thank you. Let me, go and buy you a drink."
Yeah, and it's very unusual because as Afro Samurai is fighting him, it becomes apparent that this man has the number 2 band, right, Lorena?
Yes, eventually that gets revealed.
But he doesn't wear it outside, and then, like, so it's not apparent, but then he asks Afro Samurai to kind of, "Hey, let's go to the bar and have a drink." And Afro Samurai kinda goes there, I think he has his lemonade, right? He has his lemonade, and,
Hmm.
everything seems fine, and it's pretty apparent that, there's gonna be another altercation, ensuing between the 2 of them, but it is very interesting. It's almost like they don't wanna fight each other, and they'd be fine to coexist if this band was not an issue. So it's very interesting that he gets the number 2 band from this man so he can challenge for the number 1. It's very funny, the course of events in this one, because after their what seems like seems like they're frenemies or whatever you want to call it here, they have to fight again, and that fight is really very good.
Yeah, that fight, that's probably, I want to say I like that fight even more than I like the fight with Gino, I would have to say, because it was just such an intense battle. And for a while there, we weren't really quite sure if Afro Samurai was gonna make it. So as you can see, he has the number 2 headband on his sleeve. We didn't see that before.
Right.
But when he eventually brings it out, he tells Afro the same thing that Afro's master told him. Once you go down this path after the number 2 headband, it's like it's just a path filled with blood. And again, Afro pretty much ignores that and winds up killing this guy in front of I guess what you say was like his foster son, I guess.
And it's heartbreaking because I just don't feel like this guy's a bad guy. Of all the people that he has to kind of push, and all the people that Afro Samurai has to push out of his way, this man didn't feel like a bad guy. So it's kind of hard to watch him die, and even harder to watch his little son see what happened. I almost wish he hadn't seen what happened to his dad. Of course, he's sleeping in that restaurant at the time, and
Mhm.
he sneaks out the door. There's a carnival going on, where everybody's kind of like getting it on, and there's a cool DJ, and there's all sorts of really cool. You mentioned that you thought the float might be a CGI, I think, but it looks very 3D in the movie. It looks
Mhm.
so good, and then they actually end up inside of the float fighting.
That was crazy. I mean, who would have thought about something like that? And you see their shadows inside the floats actually fighting, so it's like parts we can't see, and then they wind up going out, falling out of the float and then going into another one. I thought that was a very creative use of CGI and hand drawn, which is kind of like par for the course with anime now. But considering this was done in 2009, that may have been a very early application of it. But it looked great, and like I said, that's probably my favorite Afro Samurai battle because he's battling against. It's almost like fighting his master again in a way. This guy is not advertising he has the number 2 headband. He's not really apt to try to fight the user because you saw what happened. As soon as that number 2 headband comes out, all of a sudden everybody's coming out trying to kill you.
Absolutely, and, and it's no different here. This opponent of his is an incredible fighter, and we don't wanna see him lose, and that just is a testament to the story that, there are
Mhm,
fights where no one wants to really fight, and they're kind of forced in a situation where they have to. Um,
mhm.
he had that chain, he was using the chain, it got pretty long. I've seen it as a weapon in the past, but I don't know what it's called, and he used it to kind of, like, grab the sword from him. It was
Yeah.
incredible looking, it really looked great, and you could see just between the two of them, that was some fancy skills he has with the sword.
That was a nice battle. Did not expect for him to use a chain that way, and it just like up the stakes, which is what I like about this anime. Anime battles in general, but it's like it everything every battle gets better and better and better, and the stakes get up. Like in this case, kid wound up seeing his foster dad killed right in front of him, and what a callback to the beginning of the Afro Samurai series, where you see Afro Samurai and you see his father get cut down in front of him. It's just great how they flipped it on its head like that. So again, it's like sort of the same situation, but in that case, we feel more sympathy for the kid. It's like we feel less sympathy for Afro Samurai at this point, interestingly enough.
Yeah, it's very clever to kind of play with our emotions a little bit in this story where we're a little uncertain about how we should feel about the main character, the main star,
Hmm.
and wondering, like, what is the sense in this almost? It's quite profound that it had that effect on us as we're watching it. I still feel bad that this guy died. I really do.
Yeah, I just it especially how he went out. I felt bad, and again, the first time probably that I was just like, I don't know. I really think Afro Samurai is freaking irredeemable. But I love these flashbacks. How we get to see Seo, who is actually voiced by Lucy Liu. I freaking love Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
Oh, the way she played the character in this anime with her voice, it was just so freaking sinister, but such a contrast to her character Seo as a young girl. She's happy. She's happy to be in this foster home. Gino is basically like her protective foster brother, and everyone just seems so happy. I mean, we keep talking about the cherry blossoms rendering in this anime. It looks just like it's glowing, and you see like the petals, and they just do such a great job with it. It's almost like when you see her like this and you see the cherry blossoms, it makes you happy, and then almost makes you sad when you see her as an adult, just how twisted and cynical and just straight up evil she is. It's like you feel like, what could happen that could possibly make her turn that way?
Yes, and as you had mentioned, Lorena, it all goes back to that incident that happened at the school. And of course, these were his pretty much his family, his classmates, but his family, um, all the children that tried to protect, their master pretty much. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, there were other fighters that came into the school and pretty much, unfortunately, I would almost say mortally wounded everyone. But we find
Hmm.
out that not everybody is actually gone completely.
Yeah, they're basically just like Gino was. Apparently, we find out in this movie he actually died, but was brought back again as even less of himself as a cyborg, and all the other family members were brought back as cyborgs, which we found out during this crazy ass battle that they had going on. The guy with the boombox, like remember we saw him in the in this series. It turns out it's really not a boombox. It's like got long nails and stuff. And Samuel L. Jackson's character saying, "That's not a blunt." And it actually blew like a dart, and like a poison dart is shot at him. It's that whole fight just with him decimating the whole foster family. It's like I didn't quite know how to feel about that. It's like I felt really bad for them. Um, it's like I couldn't really, if I had to pick a side, I didn't really feel like picking one. I guess I would say, just because of yet how far again Afro Samurai has gone, like just in this, just like in the series, when Samuel L. Jackson, or Afro Samurai's conscience, basically says, "Look, I can't go any further with you," and he just disappears.
Yeah, and it's understandable because it just feels like a fight of futility. And it initially kind of hard to understand, but then we hear the female character talk about what Afro Samurai did to them. And it seems like they're all convinced that this was his fault. Of course, we know it wasn't. It was the
Hmm.
outside people that came to attack the master. Um,
Right.
and also Afro Samurai, it was just an unfortunate situation that happened. Of course, they're all angry at Afro because he did, I guess, inevitably kill the master, right, Lorena?
Hmm.
So they
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that, and they don't understand that they were just children themselves at the time. So when, they were very cleverly recreated one of the children as a dragon, which I thought was unbelievable. Even when he opened his mouth, fire came out, and I said, "That's creative." Um,
Yeah.
we saw one of the other girls. She's also a cyborg, and she had what looked like engines, or not engines, jet engines on
Hmm.
her feet. Uh,
Hmm.
and then the other guy, this guy, I think that you're looking at right now, like I had said, when he's about to confront Afro Samurai, he his hand went back, and then that projectile kind of came out of it.
Yeah.
He made this pose that was like, wow, like he's ready to fight you and it's going down. You know what I mean? Like, you're not talking him out of this one. It's going to come to blows. And, I really feared for Afro Samurai, but little did we know, Lorena, that they had another weapon, which was Afro Samurai's father.
And that was just insane how they did that. And I'm trying to get down to where you could
I
see
don't
kind of
remember
like
the point, or else I would tell you.
where
It's at
he
seconds.
let's see. Yeah, so over here on the left, so what had happened was basically Sia and her crew, basically grave robbers, took like this jawbone, that's all that was left, because you remember Afro Samurai was carrying around his dad's severed head with them, and they used that to basically clone Afro Samurai. Well, sorry, his father.
Hmm.
But we had some things happen, and CEO decided to not listen to the crazy doctor, who was right and said you needed time for this to happen. And it's like, no, I need Afro Samurai to die now. I'm tired of waiting. So what got back, or what grew, basically was not Afro Samurai's father. This guy, I mean, just pretty much imagine the Hulk. It was just like a monster that that came back in this particular form, to the point where he wound up killing Afro Samurai. And
Yeah,
how crazy was that?
it's completely remarkable. And Lorena, and I know that you felt the same way when you saw it literally looks like they grew him um in a giant
Hmm.
vat. And the strangest part was, as you said, when one of the, or maybe you didn't say it, when one of the characters, I think you did say it though, um decides that he has to defend Afro Samurai. He was fighting
Yes.
5 minutes ago, and he's like, "F this. I got to defend him. I got to protect you, Afro." It was like, maybe that's the scene we're seeing right here, Lorena, where he
Hmm.
just jumps in and just it's like, "I can't let this happen." And the girl is like, "What are you doing?" It was just unbelievable. And that's another moment where I think they really did so well in this anime to get us to now be rooting for him.
Yeah, because in the series when he showed up, I didn't really like him too much. And he was pretty much like, Afro, I'm gonna kill you. I haven't stopped shedding tears since you basically killed everybody. Get that number two headband. Don't you have, any remorse or anything like that? He was just so full of vengeance, and we're just like, no, why are you coming at, Afro Samurai like that? And especially when he comes back years later and he has all of those headbands, and he basically says, are you ready to die again? If I remember correctly. And it just kind of left it at that. And you didn't really, it's like you didn't really have as much empathy for Gino as you did for Afro Samurai. And then you come to this point where Gino is actually like, I need to defend, my brother. And you're just like, what a change of events. Because in the series, Afro Samurai did not want to fight him. And he kept saying, why don't you fight me? Why don't you fight me? And it was only until the last minute that he decided to fight back, and I wound up killing him, but he came back. And now he said, I have to defend Afro, but unfortunately, Gino didn't quite make it, did he?
He didn't, and I think, it was very interesting that, this turn of events happened. In the end, what we saw was, another pretty much a family member sacrificing himself for another family member, even though the outcome wasn't what they wanted, and of course, the girl jumps in trying to save him and gets killed, but, we don't actually see, and I think it's a good thing they didn't show us Afro Samurai kill this, let's say, amalgamation, genetic
Hmm.
recreation of his father. I think it's a good thing that happened off camera, because that might be uncomfortable, honestly, to think about. And of course, the irony is this little boy who follows him to the end, and it's
Hmm.
the full circle, Lorena. His father had the number two, and now Afro Samurai gives it to him, and it's just unbelievable. And what's the line that he said at the end, Lorena?
He said, come find me when you're ready,
Yeah, yeah,
which is the same line that Justice told Afro in the anime.
yeah.
Then I tell you, this was my second watch of Afro Samurai Resurrection. I actually saw Resurrection before I saw the series.
Oh,
Yeah, so I kind of watched it backwards, just because I just wanted to say, because I hadn't seen the series in a while, so but I had never seen the movie. So I was watching the movie, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go back and watch the series. So I'll ask you, mm, do you think that you would enjoy just watching the movie in isolation, or do you feel that you would have to go and watch all five of the anime episodes first and then see the film?
although you could watch the film standalone, I'd have to see the origin story. And it flows one after the other, I think, very nicely. Um, and it does kind of give you a sense of what you may be up against, or what Afro Samurai might be up against, because in the first film, they built a robot that looks like him. In the
Mhm.
second film, he's confronted with a clone of his father, a genetic clone of his father. So I think that it's very interesting that they chose to do that, but it made sense because the robot couldn't defeat him, and now they're
Mhm.
going to go for the next best thing they can create, to get back at him. But there's a lot of enemies he's made along the way in this film, especially. We see there are these
Mhm.
townsfolk who try to fight him, and he's not even
Yeah.
dealing with them. He's like, I can't fight these people. But certainly understanding as well, Lorena, when this little boy has the number two headband in his hand, it's, you can kind of see the circle and remember it from when Afro Samurai himself was in this position as a child. So I think it's very poignant, and it really this is a film. It might be the perfect anime. There's nothing left to wonder about. Like, we understand the story and it's balanced,
Mhm.
and we understand what may happen. He may choose to challenge him one day.
Exactly.
So that is very clever indeed, and certainly not what I was expecting Afro Samurai to do here. I thought he was going to take the boy with him and, raise him like his son.
Mhm.
Perhaps he couldn't do that, but I just thought that this was very interesting as well.
I agree. I love how this ended. There were no loose ends. It kind of left it up to your imagination to think what could possibly happen after this. So I think it was the perfect ending. The anime series itself is a great standalone as 5 episodes, I think, and the movie just elevated everything as far as I'm concerned. Just took it to another level. So that's kind of like how I feel about it. And as a matter of fact, you can actually buy on Amazon the 5 episode anime and Samurai Resurrection, and it's all called, I kid you not, the Murder Session.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Yes,
not the
you
name I
can.
thought it would have been called. I don't know what
No.
it. The Afro
No.
Samurai. It was so good, Lorena. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was this is, an anime that I would put on rotation along with like Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. And yes, mostly for in part for the music, because the music is hype. I'm telling you,
It is.
love it from the RZA. Love the tracks, even the track that they used at the end when Gino shows up and he's just like, that's my brother. They're playing the same track that they played in the series. So this is one of those perfect animes. Really, it's short, but very very packed. The story pacing is great, and yeah, I haven't come across a bad a bad anime yet at all. So I'll give you the last thoughts on this film.
Well, I think this is definitely one that should be on your must-see list for anime.
Mm,
And honestly, I think that they struck on something very special with Samuel L. Jackson being sort of this. I'm not really even going to say side character. He is like a main character in this, and an incredibly important one, giving Afro Samurai a lot of information, giving us a lot of information as
hmm
well, and helping us to understand, the a lot of things that are going on. So I think that Afro Samurai needs to have someone like that with him, because if he didn't, it would just it would be way too quiet and perhaps not as enjoyable. Samuel L. Jackson's a remarkable voice actor. Um,
hmm
Impressed with him. He was always good anyway, but he has incredible talent. So I this might be one of the best performances for me for Samuel L. Jackson. I have to give him a lot of credit for his ability to just, you can really, this character feels so real. And I loved the animation in this. I thought that the
Oh yes.
that final duel, Lorena, where it felt like heat signature was coming off of the screen. I just loved that. It felt so alive and so impressive. And it was just unbelievable. I really loved that too. So I think that this anime is a win-win. It's a great anime, and it's on the must-see list. So I really think it's fantastic. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Totally agree. Totally agree. This is one of those animes on the list of, are you serious about watching anime or not? And it is definitely on that. Hey, you get serious cred if you've seen Afro Samurai. So again, cannot recommend this enough. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video. We surely do appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to Her of Positive Fandom if you have not. Please subscribe to me, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.